What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for stopping by. Today's game plan is going to be just doing a couple test hands. In lieu of my regional coming up, this is honestly how I get a lot of my testing done. I actually just do a bunch of test hands. I like to practice my lines. I like to see what I can create with my 5-card hand. And then that way, whenever I'm playing in an event, I can just streamline exactly what I'm trying to do. So yes, you're not going to get that in-person interaction, but when you're not able to go to locals as much as I do, and I really don't like using Dueling Book, the best thing I can do is just make sure that I have my lines down packed and I know what I can create with my 5-card hand. So this is going to be the K9 Dracotail deck that I posted a few days ago. And yeah, so we're literally just gonna do like a couple test hands, like what I'd done in a few other videos. And yeah, just see where we go from there. And hopefully this helps you, see some lines that you never thought of. And then we'll also experiment and see, do some stuff that's different than the normal like spheres line. We'll try to use cross sheep a little more. And yeah, so shuffled up. And let's see, starting 5. We got Phimena, Rahu, Double Jokel, Lucius. So since we already have the Phimena, let's go ahead and try to do some cross sheep routes. So right here, honestly, I would just go ahead and start off with the Jokel. Just keeping it a buck. We'll go Jokel effect, reveal Jokel, summon both, use Jokel effect. We'll go ahead and add ourselves the lantern. Shuffle up. And then right here, we'll just go ahead and insulate. So we'll go ahead and make our Ripper to start out to help protect ourselves from, let's say, like an Nibiru, an Ash Blossom on our Rahu or Ketu. So we'll go ahead and use Ripper effect, detach Jokel, and we'll go ahead and search for, where are you at? Our Izuna. So just in case our opponent does have a hand trap, we can go ahead and Izuna, or we can just save it for our following turn and then go from there. So here, now that we have the Ripper, we're kind of insulated. So what we can do is we can go ahead and do the Lantern, summon Jokel, then we'll do Lantern effect. And now we can go ahead and add ourselves the X-Force release. So we have it during our following turn. And we have another interruption during the opponent's turn. So here, we can just go ahead and overlay these two and make ourselves a Valon. I don't know why, but I always like putting the Valon in defense mode for the just in case, All right, so now that we got the K9 stuff out of the way, now we can go ahead and start with just summon Lucius. Lucius effect, since we have Phimena, we're gonna go ahead and add ourselves a Malulu. Now from here, so we have a few options. If we're gonna try to do the cross sheep route, which is kind of cool, we have one play that we can do from here. So I'm gonna go ahead and Phimena. We're gonna go ahead and use the Izuna and the Malulu, and we're gonna summon our Arthalion. It's gonna feel a little wonky, but again, we have the Ripper for protection, so unless they have like an imperm, this Arthalion is gonna go off. So we're gonna go Arthalion effect. We get to target 2 from our graveyard. So we're gonna target the Phimena and the Izuna to add back. And then we're gonna use Malulu to set. So we haven't had our Ketu yet, so we can just go ahead and set the Ketu from the Malulu. And the main thing is getting the Malulu in grave, because what we're gonna do is summon it back with our cross sheep that we're gonna make right now. So the normal line that I would do here is go Lucius into Spirit with Eyes of Blue, make these two into a spheres. But another cool thing we can do is just link these two away. Oh, sorry. Let's add these back from the Arthalion. So we're gonna link those two away, and we're gonna go into our cross sheep. So the only requirements for cross sheep are just 2 monsters with different names. So now we have the cross sheep up here. We have Ketu, we have Rahu. So we're gonna go ahead and start setting up for the following turn, start lining ourselves up for success. So we're gonna go Ketu, and then we're gonna be focusing on interruption. So we're gonna go ahead and add a pan. And the goal for this turn is to have multiple ways to fusion. So just in case we do get interrupted, you know, we're insulated a little bit. All right, so now we have that. So we're gonna go ahead and activate Rahu. We haven't used the 5 mana effect yet. So we're gonna go ahead and discard the 5 mana, and we're going to send Urgula. Where you at, where you at? There we go. And then we're going to summon our Golemel. And make sure to summon it to one of the zones that the cross sheep points to. So now new chain links. We're gonna go cross sheep since Golemel was pointing to it when it was summoned. Cross sheep target Malulu. And then we're gonna go chain link 2, 5 mana, chain link 3, Urgla. So now we can set both of our traps. So we have more interruption. So we have Horn. And we have Flame. So we have a spell negation and a monster bounce. And then now we can summon our Malulu from graveyard to right here. And then we're gonna end the turn with using Urgla to put to the bottom of the deck. And then we're gonna add back the 5 mana. And then we're going to set the X-Force release so we can hit that Ripper. So using what we currently had in our hand, we're ending the turn with 2 ways to fusion. We have the 5 mana and we have the Malulu. We have a pan in hand for a non-target monster pop. We have a Ripper, we have the Valon for a Book of Moon, we have Horn for a bounce, we have Flame from Spell Negate, we have Golemel for a pop. So we have a lot of cool interruptions. And the cool thing is, if we end up using the Malulu first, so let's say during the opponent's turn, we do Malulu in pan, we summon out another Arthalion here. This is during the opponent's turn. This is off board. So we'll go chain link 1 Arthalion, we'll add back the Malulu that we just used. And then with the cross sheep, we can summon out the Lucius to add more monsters to our hand for more follow-up. So we're like pretty much set. This is a really good hand. So this is using the cross sheep. So instead of going the spheres route, which I really like, I feel like this gives you more insulation. This gives you more options to fuse. So depending on your matchup, you know, if you value the bounce from the heavenly spheres more, then go that route. But the main reason that we're able to basically fully commit to this is we were able to start with a Ripper to help us, you know, insulate. So let's go ahead and shuffle up again. And that's just showing off the cross sheep. So I've been playing around with like lines using this because some people just, you know, they don't like the spheres, or they're playing the more fusion centric route where they're playing like the Cartesia or the Crowley. So this opens up more lines. And that's the main reason that I like using the K9 stuff, because it just opens up more. So you lose a little bit of power on the fusion side, but you gain a lot more lines and a lot more safety net when you're using the K9 stuff. So let's shuffle up again and let's see what we can start with. So we're shuffled up. We'll go ahead and cut. We got our extra deck over here. All right. Let's start our 5. We got Rahu, Ketu, Lucius, and an Effect Veiler. So starting here, we usually do these test hands with not worrying about what our opponent has. This is just us playing solitaire. But if you're worried about your opponent having something, you can either start with a Ketu to bait. So basically these essentially do the same thing. Do you value the body more, or do you value the search more? So we're just gonna go ahead and start off with just summon Lucius. Then we'll go Lucius effect. And we'll add ourselves a Phimena. This is usually your normal like search. And then from here, we'll go ahead and Ketu. And we will add ourselves, let's go with Frixel. Show a line with that. So where are you at? There we go. We'll add the Frixel to our hand. So essentially what we're gonna do here is almost like the same line we did before. So Ketu over there, but we're just gonna show off some stuff we can do with the Frixel. So we're gonna go ahead and Phimena using the Frixel and the Effect Veiler, and we're just gonna go normal. Normal monster that we usually summon is gonna be Arthaline. So we're gonna go Arthaline Chainlink 1, targeting the Phimena and the Effect Veiler, and then Chainlink 2 is gonna be Frixel to set. So we're ready to use Ketu. We have 2 Rahus in hand, so we can go ahead and start setting up our traps. So we'll start with the Flame for the spell negate. And then we'll go ahead and add these 2 back to our hand. Now from here, we can either go the Heavenly Spheres route, which I'm a really big fan of, or we can just do another cross sheep line where we just do cross sheep, Rahu, and then we can dump and summon and go from there. So again, we'll just keep going with the cross sheep route, just in case you don't play the Heavenly Sphere stuff. So we'll link those 2 away. And then we'll go ahead and activate our Rahu, sending Phimena. And we will dump ourselves. Where are you at? A Malulu. Is that correct? Well, let's try that. And we will summon our Golomel. And then we'll go Chainlink 1 Cross Sheep, and we are going to target our Frixel. And then Chainlink 2 is going to be Phimena. Chainlink 3 is going to be Malulu. So we'll go ahead and set our other trap. And then we'll set ourselves up for next turn. So we'll go ahead and do a Ketu as well. There we go. And then we will summon our Frixel. And then we will use Frixel Effect. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to target our Malulu. So we're going to go summon Malulu. And then what we're going to do here is we're actually going to bounce the Frixel back to our hand. So not the most optimal line, but we still have plenty of interruption. We still have stuff we can do. So we already started with the Ketu, so we're set up for next turn. So we're ending the turn with the Cross Sheep, a Golomel, a Malulu to fuse. We have Horn, Flame, Ketu, a Rahu in hand. We also have an Effect Veiler with Frixel. So how I would approach it for going into the next turn is what we can do whenever our opponent does something. We can go ahead and use the Malulu effect. This is during the opponent's turn, by the way. We can fuse these 2 away. And we can go ahead and go into another Arthaline. Now we can go Arthaline effect. We can target 1 monster from our graveyard. So what we're going to do is we're going to set ourselves up for another following turn. So we can go Arthaline, target the Lucius, and then Cross Sheep, we're going to target our Frixel again. So we're going to go Frixel, summon, and then Arthaline, we're going to add back our Lucius. And now Frixel is going to trigger. So we're going to go ahead and summon out our Phimena. And then on resolution, we're going to add back the Phimena to our hand. So Now we have another way to fuse. We have the interruption with the effect failure, and we can just go ahead and whenever our opponent does something, we can discard the 5 mana, we can pop with the Golem, we can use the Frixel again to fuse, we have the Lucius in hand, so we have a good amount of interruption going from here. All right, so let's go ahead and shuffle up. We'll do one more test hand. So if we have the opportunity, we'll do a Spheres line as well for the people that aren't, familiar with it. So let's shuffle up real quick. And let's draw. So we got Valor, X-Force, Charmy, and Jokel. Oops. All right, well, we're going first, and unfortunately we can't do anything. We have the 2 Fuas and Effect Valor, and then the one play we can do is literally just summon Jokel effect, and we can add ourselves an Izuna for the following turn. But even still, I don't think that that's worth it, because you're just cutting off the 2 Fuas. So, at least y'all know these are real test hands. I'm not trying to fluff them up. But unfortunately, the first 2 test hands were good. The third one, we're going to pass. We're going to double Fua, and hopefully we draw into some good stuff. So let's say they give us 2 draws. So now we have this. So we can kind of play, we can effect failure them, stop them a little more. We have the Izuna to dump the Lupus. So realistically, we have options to play, but, no real Dracotail stuff. So I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me. My son just woke up from his nap, so it kind of worked out perfectly. But if you have any questions, concerns, please feel free to drop them in the comments down below. I appreciate y'all for hanging out. Later. Peace.